Rain lashed against the windows. A relentless barrage. We were cozy inside, fire crackling in the hearth. Mary sipped her tea, a contented smile on her face. I loved seeing her like that, at peace. We were supposed to be on vacation, a getaway to forget our troubles. Instead, we were stuck here, then darkness. "Don't worry, darling," Mary said, her voice a soothing balm. "Just a power cut. Probably those old lines again." She always knew how to calm me, but I couldn't shake the feeling. Something wasn't right. The wind howled outside, an angry beast trying to force its way in. I told myself it was just the storm, but deep down I knew better. A low creak from upstairs shattered the silence. My blood ran cold. We were alone, or so we thought. "Just the wind, love," Mary said, but her voice wavered. She felt it too, the shift in the atmosphere. Another creak, closer this time, like footsteps, slow. Fear, primal and raw, tightened its grip. Silence. It was deafening. Then a crash from the kitchen. Mary gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. I grabbed the fire poker, its weight oddly comforting. My heart hammered in my chest. "Stay here," I whispered, my voice a raspy growl. She nodded, her eyes wide with terror. I moved cautiously towards the kitchen, each step echoing in the silence. The floorboards creaked under my weight, and then I saw it. The figure turned, a grotesque parody of a smile twisting its lips. It held up a hand, a single finger pressed to its lips. "Shh," it hissed, its voice a chilling whisper that sent shivers down my spine. He was toying with us, playing a game, and we were the pawns. The fire poker felt heavy in my hand, useless against this thing. "Who are you?" I croaked, my voice barely a whisper. "You'll find out," it whispered. He was gone. Vanished into thin air. I stood there, heart pounding, trying to convince myself it had been a nightmare. But the shattered glass on the floor, the overturned chair, told a different story. I rushed back to Mary, her face ashen, her eyes wide with unspoken fear. "He's gone," I said, my voice rough. But even as I spoke the words, I knew it wasn't over. This was just the beginning. The game had begun, and we were already losing. This was something far more sinister. The silence was shattered by the shrill ring of the landline. Impossible. The power was still out. Mary and I exchanged a look of pure terror. Who would be calling us now, and how? I cautiously approached the phone, each ring sending a fresh wave of fear through me. Pick it up or let it ring. My gut screamed at me to run, to get out while we still could. But something drew me to the phone, like a moth to a flame. "Hello?" My voice was a dry croak. "Let's play a game." The voice sent chills down my spine. It knew my name, knew where we were, knew everything. "What do you want?" I growled, trying to sound brave, but my voice trembled. "Find me," the voice hissed, "before I find you." And then the line went dead. Hide and seek, a childish game. But this was no child's play, this was a hunt, and we were the prey. "We need to get out of here," I said, my voice urgent. Mary nodded, her eyes wide with terror. But where could we go? We were trapped. We moved through the house like ghosts, our footsteps echoing in the silence. He was out there. We reached the attic door, a last possible hiding place. As I reached for the handle, my fingers brushed against something cold and damp. I pulled my hand back with a gasp. Blood. It was covered in blood. Panic surged through me, threatening to overwhelm me. He'd been here, touched this very spot. The message was clear. The blood-soaked handkerchief felt heavy in my hand, a macabre token from our tormentor. The word "mine" was seared into my brain, a branding iron on my soul. We were trapped in a nightmare, a twisted game orchestrated by a madman. Mary clutched my arm, her fingers digging into my flesh. Her eyes were wide with terror, reflecting the flickering light of the oil lamp I held. The attic was musty, filled with the ghosts of forgotten memories. Cobwebs hung from the rafters like macabre decorations. We were trapped, pawns in a game we didn't understand. Amongst the dusty furniture and forgotten toys, a small wooden chest caught my eye. It was tucked away in a corner, hidden beneath a moth-eaten tapestry. I brushed away the dust, my fingers trembling with anticipation and dread. The chest was unlocked. Inside, I found a leather-bound diary, its pages brittle with age. The diary belonged to the previous owner of the house, a woman named Eleanor. Her words, penned in a spidery script, painted a chilling picture of her life within these walls. She too had experienced strange and unsettling events. Footsteps in the dead of night, whispers on the wind. She called him the Collector. Hope flickered within me. Maybe we weren't dealing with a crazed intruder, but something else, something we could fight. Eleanor's diary mentioned a way to break the curse, a ritual. But before I could read further, a blood-curdling scream pierced the silence. Mary! I slammed the diary shut, my heart pounding in my chest. Her scream had come from downstairs. He had her. Panic seized me, urging me to rush headlong into the darkness. But Eleanor's words echoed in my mind. He feeds on fear. Don't play his game. I had to think, to strategize. Eleanor's diary lay open on the floor, its secrets spilling out like blood from a wound. I couldn't save her, but maybe, just maybe, her words held the key to saving Mary. Her instructions were cryptic, referencing objects hidden within the house, imbued with a power she called the remnants of souls past. The first object, a silver locket, hidden within the eye socket of a porcelain doll. The image sent shivers down my spine. This wasn't just about survival, it was about playing his game, but what choice did I have? I had to find the locket. The porcelain doll stared up at me with vacant eyes, its painted smile a grotesque mockery of innocence. I could feel a presence here, a lingering echo of the soul it once held. My hand trembled as I reached into the doll's hollow eye socket, my fingers closing around something cold and metallic, the locket. Inside, a faded photograph of a young woman with sad eyes. Eleanor, no, a name scribbled on the back, Clara, below it a date and a single word, taken. I was surrounded by ghosts. Eleanor's diary mentioned a grandfather clock, its pendulum silenced by the weight of 1,000 regrets. The inscription was a riddle, a twisted clue leading me deeper into the belly of the beast. The clock was in the living room, a looming presence in the flickering candlelight. I could feel his eyes on me, a constant pressure against my skin, watching my every move, judging my every thought. The air was thick with anticipation, the silence stretched taut as a bowstring. The diary spoke of a key hidden within the clock, a key to unlock not a door but a truth that would break the cycle, end the game. But what if it was all a lie? The grandfather clock loomed over me, its silence a suffocating presence. Eleanor's words echoed in my mind. The key lies where time stands still. But where was that? The pendulum was motionless, its brass weight cold beneath my touch. As I stared at my reflection in the polished brass, a chill ran down my spine. My face, contorted in fear and desperation, was slowly being replaced by another, a grotesque visage, all sharp angles and hollow eyes, a cruel smile twisting its lips. The Collector. He was in the reflection, but also I realized with a dawning horror everywhere. He was the house, and the house was him. The chime of the clock seemed to break the spell that held me captive. I stumbled back, my hand instinctively reaching for the locket of the unfortunate Clara. Her face, frozen in time, stared back at me, a silent plea for help echoing from beyond the grave. My fingers fumbled with the locket's clasp, finally prying it open to reveal the hidden key. It was smaller than I expected, almost delicate, but as I picked it up, I felt a jolt of energy, a surge of power that made my hand tingle. This was no ordinary key, it was a conduit, a bridge between the world of the living and the realm of the damned. The key felt warm in my hand, almost pulsing with a life of its own. But as I stared at it, my stomach lurched. The metal was no longer silver, but a sickly, tarnished grey, and staining it, slowly dripping from the intricate engravings, was blood, my blood. A blood-curdling scream echoed through the house, ripping through the silence like a shard of glass. Mary, terror, primal and raw, surged through me, drowning out all rational thought. I had to reach her, had to save her, but the key felt heavy in my hand, a symbol of a choice I never wanted to make. Eleanor's words whispered in my ear, a chilling mantra: one life for another, a soul for a soul. Was this the truth hidden within her words, the terrible price of freedom? To sacrifice myself, to offer my soul to the collector in exchange for Mary's? The house seemed to pulse around me, a living, breathing entity reveling in my torment. I had to make a choice. The key pulsed in my hand, a bloody metronome keeping time with my racing heart. Mary's screams were getting fainter, her lifeblood seeping away with every passing second. Eleanor's words echoed in the silence, a haunting reminder of the price I had to pay. One life for another, a soul for a soul. The house creaked around me, the walls seeming to close in, suffocating me. I could feel myself slipping, the edges of my sanity fraying like a rope stretched too thin. The collector's presence was overwhelming, a suffocating darkness that threatened to consume me. I closed my eyes, Mary's face etched with terror flashing before me. Her screams were a living nightmare, a constant reminder of my failure to protect her. The guilt was a physical weight crushing me, driving me to the brink of madness, but maybe, just maybe, I could make my descent count for something. My blood dripped onto the key, each drop a searing pain, a sacrifice offered at the altar of desperation. The house hummed with anticipation, the air thick with the stench of decay and a perverse sense of victory. The collector was close. I could feel his icy breath on my neck, his laughter echoing in my ears. I stumbled towards the large, ornate mirror that hung above the fireplace, its surface reflecting the flickering candlelight and the grotesque tableau of my despair. My reflection stared back at me, a stranger with haunted eyes and blood-stained hands. "Take it," I rasped. My voice a broken whisper, my words directed at the distorted reflection in the mirror, at the darkness that pulsed beneath its surface. "Take me, let her go." The air crackled with energy, the temperature plummeting as a wave of icy dread washed over me. The mirror rippled, the reflection of the room dissolving into a swirling vortex of shadows. And then I saw him, the collector. He emerged from the mirror, a figure woven from darkness and despair, his features shifting, never fully forming, his eyes, two burning embers in the void of his face, locked onto mine, a predator savoring the terror of its prey. He reached for the key, his touch sending a jolt of pain through my arm, a searing brand claiming me as his own. The house seemed to sigh, the air growing heavy, the temperature returning to a stifling, oppressive warmth. "A soul for a soul," he hissed, his voice a chorus of whispers, a cacophony of the damned, a debt paid in full. And then silence. The house was still. The air was clear. The only sound was the frantic thumping of my heart, a drumbeat of fear in the sudden quiet. I was alive, but Mary... I stumbled towards the front door, flinging it open to reveal the first light of dawn breaking over the horizon. The storm had passed, leaving behind a world washed clean. But the air still crackled with a lingering sense of unease. Something was different. The house. It felt empty, hollowed out. And then I saw it. Pinned to the door, a single blood-soaked handkerchief. Embroidered on it, a single word, a chilling epitaph. Hers.